Yeah, it's been on the back of my mind that, or the front of my mind, I should say, that that we didn't make it over here and get set up. You know, like you said, it's August now, and that's why I'm here, is just to sit down with you guys and talk about that and where we left off last year, and kind of trying to pick things back up.
Right now at 11 a.m., breaking news and the shocking discovery at the mining site of legendary gold miner Parker's home. We'll tell you what fellow miners found when they arrived at his property. When 3 respected gold miners visited the expansive $2 million property of the renowned miner, the case sent shockwaves through the mining community. What at first glance appeared to be a regular visit soon evolved into something much more terrifying. There was a hidden room behind the bedroom walls, concealed from view, that was not mentioned to any fellow crew members. Its existence prompted worrying inquiries. Was it just a peculiarity of design, or did it conceal a much more sinister secret? Most troubling of all, is it connected to Parker's sudden disappearance from the claim that morning? News broke at 11 a.m. that the young miner's Yukon property had been searched by his colleagues. The investigation changed from a perplexing absence to something much more ominous as a result of what they discovered there. The veteran miners noticed a spooky vibe as soon as they entered the modest cabin. Small but clear hints indicated that something was seriously wrong. What had seemed at first like regrettable oversleeping no longer seemed so simple. Then the actual revelation occurred. A secret room that led to an unrecorded storage space hidden away. The men descended through the concealed entrance into a chilly, poorly lighted room that had nothing in common with the practical simplicity above. The hidden door led to what could only be called a subterranean vault, a spooky assortment of objects that appeared to have been preserved throughout time. In the darkness, piles of dust-caked wooden crates towered, their weathered exteriors revealing long-forgotten mysteries. Some were still tightly packed, unopened for seasons, while others had rotted away, their contents leaking forth. Carefully, one of the miners opened a crate. The room was silent because of what was inside. Scattered at the bottom were yellowed images of unknown mining sites from another time. The photographs documented clandestine meetings, remote claims, and enigmatic figures whose identities are unknown. They were accompanied by bundles of old papers loaded with mysterious notes and wrapped in leather straps. Their contents alluded to gold deposits that had been purposefully kept hidden, their importance forgotten throughout time until now. A little notebook with handwritten passages, fine gold nuggets, and an antique pocket watch were among the personal belongings found in another package. The texts felt like memories or confessions, depictions of something profoundly important but veiled in uncertainty. The most disturbing finding, though, was when the miners' flashlights detected a flash of metal in the shadows. An iron door, weighed down by rust and age, stood against the wet stone wall. It had a rusty lock that seemed as if it had been left alone for years, but no handle. What was behind that door? Did it contain the answers to Parker's unexplained absence? Or was there something even more unsettling? Something that had been purposefully hidden beneath the property and never intended to be seen? The fellow miners have kept quiet about the contents of the secret room, which has led to a lot of speculations. According to others, the hidden chamber might be a component of a wider, unmapped network connecting various claims in the area. Others mutter about a conspiracy, proof of something that has long been kept hidden from the public. Regardless of the truth, there is no denying that this mystery is far from solved. The miners discovered an odd variety of items inside a dusty old crate. Some seemed to have belonged to a master prospector, and others resembled strange contraptions from mysterious experiments. Uncertainty hung over the room as suspicious looks were shared. What had been going on in this secret area? The researchers' findings proved increasingly puzzling the further they investigated. Mysterious symbols were strewn all over the floor, their meaning obscured by obscurity, and strange inscriptions were carved into the walls. Did these represent something much more sinister, or were they just relics from Parker's past? Every item discovered simply stoked more outrageous rumors about the secrets he might have kept. It appeared like the answers were inside the hidden room itself, a secret pathway that might reveal a long-kept secret. The mining community waited anxiously for each new discovery as investigators laboriously put the pieces of an ever more complex puzzle together. In addition to its impressive gold recovery equipment, Parker's property was renowned for its efficiency and the intimidating air of secrecy that pervaded it. Situated in a remote area and surrounded by dense forest and rugged terrain, the cabin was an unbreakable stronghold where seclusion and mining prowess coexisted harmoniously. From its carefully maintained equipment to its methodically organized supplies, every square inch of the property contributed to its sense of determination. However, a secret underground chamber was discovered beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary cabin, which surprised everyone. There was a lot of discussion just about the presence of this hidden room. Had it been constructed as a means of storing valuable gold finds during emergencies, or was it intended to protect maps and confidential documents about untouched claims? The chamber sparked inquiries about Parker's mysterious life, as well as the land itself. The exceptional degree of protection built into the property's architecture was even more unnerving. It seemed as though intentional steps had been taken to hide some facets of his mining operation. When the fellow miners discovered the hidden room while looking into the unusual circumstances surrounding Parker's absence, the case took an even more shocking turn. How could the outside world have failed to see such a structure for so long? According to preliminary research, the chamber may have had a specific long-forgotten function when it was first built. Some theorized that it connected to neighboring claims, creating an unidentified network beneath the surface, while others conjectured that it led to a secret underground vault containing the mother lode. More of the mysterious symbols carved into the walls, quiet murmurs of an unknowable truth, were found by the miners as they traveled farther. What was Parker hiding under his property? Was this the strange whimsy of a determined man who liked secret places, or was it a vault holding proof of a covert gold discovery? The mystery grew increasingly puzzling as the investigation progressed. The audience was enthralled with the property's sinister charm as each new discovery only served to deepen the mystery. An unanswered enigma loomed behind the rough-hewn door, its solution hidden somewhere in the darkness. What direction might this developing mystery take? Time would tell. Some even speculated that the room might go beyond the property, possibly connecting to neighboring mining operations and serving as a component of an as-yet unidentified subterranean network. The intrigue, however, did not stop there. As they continued, the miners discovered a number of troubling hints, including old documents, mysterious gadgets, and, most unsettling of all, cryptic markings etched onto the walls. According to one miner, the markings were a component of an unresolved cryptographic system, suggesting that there might be secret messages or a coded language that hasn't been cracked yet. This discovery brought up serious issues. Was this just an elaborate underground lair, the bizarre indulgence of a guy who prized his solitude above all else? Or had Parker been hiding evidence of a covert and undisclosed discovery? To find out if local builders or former claim owners knew about the hidden room's existence, investigators started looking through property records in an effort to piece together the reality. The mystery was heightened by locals recalling eerie tales. Some said that workers had mysteriously disappeared after renovating the property, while others wrote off such rumors as urban legends, maintaining that the chamber was only an old storage area and a holdover from earlier security measures. As public interest in the hidden room grew, a flurry of speculation was stoked. Others suspected it had been the location of covert activities buried beneath layers of secrecy, while others said it held hidden wealth. The chamber's discovery had sparked an unprecedented investigation, regardless of whether it was an abandoned artifact or the solution to a much bigger mystery. Given the peculiar circumstances surrounding Parker's sudden disappearance, the room's existence became even more significant. Many started to wonder if the underground chamber would contain important hints about his whereabouts. As fellow miners dug deeper into the case, it was clouded by Parker's abrupt and enigmatic disappearance from the site, as well as the unsettling findings beneath his property. Could someone have entered or exited the cabin covertly by using the room as a secret hideaway? More significantly, who would have needed this kind of hideout and why?
He watched the show and Parker's Trio in New Zealand,
Oh, yeah.
and he got inspired by it.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Who'd have thought that? That's
The Klondike gold mining community was rocked to its core this week as news broke that Parker Schnable, one of Gold Rush's most successful young miners, has filed a lawsuit against mining legends Tony Beets and his son Mike. The legal battle that has erupted between these gold mining titans stems from an alleged incident involving Tony's wife and Mike's mother, Minnie Beets, that has left the tight-knit mining community in shock. What began as a typical mining season in the Yukon has escalated into a bitter legal confrontation that threatens to forever change the dynamics between these gold rush heavyweights. Sources close to the situation report that Parker's decision to take legal action came after months of behind-the-scenes tension that finally boiled over following Minnie's controversial actions. According to court documents obtained exclusively by our sources, Parker alleges that Minnie Beets deliberately interfered with his mining operation by redirecting water from a creek that was crucial to his wash plant operation. The documents claim that this act was not only intentional, but was carried out with the knowledge and tacit approval of both Tony and Mike Beets. The timing couldn't have been worse, revealed a crew member from Parker's operation who wished to remain anonymous. We were just hitting good pay and needed that water flow at full capacity. When it suddenly dropped by more than half, we initially thought it was natural causes, maybe beaver dams upstream or something. Never in a million years did we think it was deliberate sabotage. The allegations suggest that Minnie personally operated an excavator to create a diversion dam that redirected water from Parker's claim to the Beets family operation. This action, according to Parker's legal team, resulted in nearly 3 days of severely reduced production at a time when the Schnable crew was working some of their richest ground of the season. In this business, 3 days of downtime during peak season can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost gold, explained mining analyst Rebecca Johnston. When you're paying for fuel, equipment leases, and crew wages while not producing gold, the financial damage adds up quickly. If these allegations are true, this wasn't just a neighborly dispute. It was a calculated move that hit Parker where it hurts most: his bottom line. The lawsuit seeks damages in excess of $650,000, which Parker's legal representatives claim represents the value of lost production plus punitive damages for the alleged deliberate nature of the interference. But according to those familiar with the situation, the money is only part of what's driving Parker's unprecedented legal action. "This is about principle," said a longtime friend of the Schnable family. Parker was raised by his grandfather to respect traditional mining ethics. In the old days, claim jumping and water interference were considered among the most serious offenses in mining communities. Parker sees this as not just an attack on his business, but a violation of the code that miners have lived by for generations. The court filings further allege that this incident was not isolated, but rather the culmination of a series of escalating actions taken by the Beets family to undermine Parker's operation. These included spreading false rumors about his payment practices to equipment suppliers and attempting to poach key members of his crew by offering substantially higher wages. What makes this case particularly explosive is the involvement of Minnie Beets. While Tony has always been the face of the Beets mining empire, insiders know that Minnie is a powerful force behind the scenes, often making critical operational and financial decisions. Her direct involvement in the alleged water diversion represents an unprecedented escalation in what had previously been mostly professional rivalry between the mining operations. Anyone who knows the Beets family understands that Minnie is no passive mining wife, explained a veteran Yukon miner familiar with both families. She's Tony's equal partner in every sense. Nothing significant happens on their claims without her knowledge and approval. If she diverted that water, you can bet it wasn't a rogue action. It was family strategy. The timing of the incident is particularly suspicious, according to Parker's legal team. It occurred just days after Parker had announced a record-breaking weekly gold total during a community meeting, a total that significantly outpaced the Beets family's production for the same period. Some speculate that this public success triggered resentment that ultimately led to the alleged sabotage. For their part, the Beets family has vehemently denied all allegations. Through their attorney, they issued a brief statement claiming that any water diversion was a standard mining practice necessary for their own operation and had nothing to do with hindering Parker's production. "My clients categorically deny any wrongdoing," stated Magnus Reynolds, the attorney representing the Beets family. "The Beets have been mining in the Klondike for decades and have always operated with integrity. These accusations are not only false, but damaging to their reputation." We intend to vigorously defend against these baseless claims and are considering a countersuit for defamation. Sources close to the Beets family paint a very different picture of the events leading up to the alleged incident. According to these accounts, tensions between the operations had been simmering for months, primarily due to what the Beets perceived as Parker's increasingly aggressive expansion into territory traditionally mined by more established operators. Tony and Mike felt that Parker wasn't showing proper respect for the unwritten boundaries that have kept peace between Klondike miners for years, revealed a former Beets employee. There was talk around their camp that the young hotshot needed to be taught a lesson about how things work up here. But I never heard anything about actually messing with his water supply. That would cross a line that even Tony wouldn't want to be associated with. The lawsuit has created uncomfortable divisions within the tight-knit Gold Rush production community as well. Crew members from both operations have worked together during off-seasons on various projects, formed friendships, and even dated within the extended Gold Rush family. Now, many feel forced to choose sides in a conflict that has personal and professional implications. It's like watching your parents go through a nasty divorce, said one camera operator who has worked with both mining teams. These are people we've filmed for years, through highs and lows. We've been in their homes, met their families. Now there's this tension on set that you can cut with a knife. Everyone's walking on eggshells, afraid to say the wrong thing. Discovery Channel executives are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, but have thus far declined to comment on how the legal battle might affect future seasons of the show. However, industry insiders suggest that rather than shying away from the conflict, producers may be considering ways to incorporate the real-life drama into the show's narrative. Conflict drives ratings, explained television producer Marta Sanchez, who has worked on several reality shows featuring businesses. The producers will be careful about legal boundaries, but a genuine feud between two of their biggest stars is ratings gold, if you'll pardon the pun. They'll find a way to tell the story while protecting themselves legally. The lawsuit has also exposed the complex relationships between claim owners in the Yukon. Many viewers of Gold Rush might not realize that mining claims often share resources like access roads, water rights, and even equipment in informal arrangements based more on handshakes than legal documents. This case could potentially force more formal documentation of these arrangements throughout the region. If Parker wins this lawsuit, it could change how business is done up here, said Ronald Lewis, a mining consultant who advises several operations in the area. Many of these guys operate on trust and verbal agreements. A legal precedent about water rights could force everyone to lawyer up and put everything in writing. That's not necessarily the culture these old-school miners want to work in. Perhaps most surprising to Gold Rush fans is the revelation that Mini Beets allegedly took such direct action in the feud. While viewers know her primarily as the strong-willed matriarch who keeps the Beets household running, mining insiders have long understood her critical role in the family's business decisions. Minnie keeps the books, handles a lot of the regulatory paperwork, and has a say in all major investments, revealed a former gold buyer who has done business with the Beets family for years. She's also fiercely protective of the family legacy that she and Tony have built. If she perceived Parker as a threat to that legacy, particularly to Mike's future in the business, I could see her taking matters into her own hands. What makes the situation particularly poignant for longtime Gold Rush viewers is the deterioration of what was once a mentorship relationship. In earlier seasons, Tony often provided guidance to the young Parker, who entered the mining game as a teenager. Over the years, that mentorship evolved into a rivalry as Parker's operation grew to rival and sometimes outperform the Beets family mine. There was genuine respect there at one point, observed a Discovery Channel producer speaking on condition of anonymity. Tony saw something of himself in Parker, that same drive and willingness to take risks. And Parker genuinely valued Tony's experience and knowledge. Watching that relationship devolve into lawsuits and accusations is honestly heartbreaking for those of us who were there from the beginning. The legal proceedings have also thrust Mike Beets into an uncomfortable position. As Tony's son and the presumed heir to the Beets mining empire, Mike has had a complex relationship with Parker, who is roughly the same age but has achieved remarkable success on his own, rather than following in his family's footsteps. "Mike's in a tough spot," said a friend of the younger Beets. "He respects Parker's accomplishments, but his loyalty is obviously to his family. Being named in this lawsuit alongside his father feels like he's being punished for actions he may not have had any part in. But there's no way he's going to publicly contradict his parents, especially his mother. The lawsuit specifically alleges that Mike Beets was present during the water diversion and actively participated by operating additional equipment to accelerate the construction of the temporary dam. Parker's legal filing includes satellite imagery, showing equipment registered to the Beets operation working in the area during the time frame in question. For Parker, the decision to take legal action wasn't made lightly. Sources close to him reveal that he consulted with his father Roger and spent several days weighing the potential long-term consequences before instructing his lawyers to file the suit. Parker wanted to handle this privately at first, said a member of his inner circle. He actually went to Tony's claim in person to confront him about the water issue, but the conversation quickly turned hostile. When Tony essentially told him to prove it or shut up, Parker felt he had no choice but to let the courts handle it. The confrontation allegedly became so heated that crew members from both operations had to physically separate the two miners. This altercation reportedly occurred off-camera, though rumors suggest that audio was captured by production team members who were nearby setting up for a different segment. The legal battle has sparked discussions throughout the mining community about the increasing commercialization of their traditionally private industry. Gold Rush and similar shows have brought unprecedented attention to the modern gold mining industry, creating celebrities out of people who previously worked in relative obscurity.
The courtroom was thick with tension. Every pair of eyes locked on the judge as he prepared to deliver the final verdict. For Parker Schnable, the courtroom wasn't just another day in his already intense life. It was the culmination of everything he had fought for. The years of hard work, the risks, and the countless sleepless nights spent in the unforgiving Yukon wilderness. But as the judge spoke, it became clear that this was not going to be just another victory to add to Parker's long list of successes. The weight of the moment hit him like a ton of bricks. His body, usually a fortress of resolve, betrayed him, and in that moment Parker Schnable collapsed, something no one had ever anticipated. How did a man who had stared down floods, battles with machinery, and even financial ruin fall apart so utterly? For a man who was once the golden child of the gold mining world, revered for his relentless drive and unmatched ambition, the world watched in disbelief as his world unraveled right before their eyes. The collapse wasn't just a physical reaction. It was the visible manifestation of years of pressure finally taking its toll. But how did it all come to this? What series of events, both personal and professional, led to this shocking moment that left Parker gasping for air? This wasn't just about a legal case or a momentary lapse in strength. This was about the breaking point of a man who had once seemed invincible. Parker's image as a fearless and relentless gold miner was built over years of dedication, sweat, and determination. Yet in the courtroom, all of that seemed to evaporate. Fans who had watched Parker grow from a 16-year-old kid managing the family mine to a powerhouse of gold extraction had never seen him like this, vulnerable, human, and broken. The tension was palpable, and the public had never been this invested in Parker's story. The man who had weathered financial disasters, relationship struggles, and the cruelty of nature now stood at the crossroads of a future that was suddenly uncertain. What was the sentence that brought him to his knees, and how could a man who had conquered so much be left gasping for breath at the most unexpected of all moments? Parker Schnable's journey into the world of gold mining wasn't built on a series of small, calculated decisions. No, for him, it was always about taking risks, the bigger the better. He had the weight of his family legacy on his shoulders, and with that came the pressure to succeed. Born into the Schnable family, whose name was synonymous with gold mining success, Parker had big shoes to fill. But from the start, he wasn't content to simply follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, John Schnable, the man who had built Big Nugget Mine. Parker made a life-altering decision when he chose to bypass college and pour every cent of his college fund into a gold mining operation. At just 16, Parker chose the unforgiving wilderness of Alaska over a safe and predictable path to success. His family, especially his mother, didn't understand it. But for Parker, this wasn't just about ambition. It was about destiny, a calling that pulled him into the world of gold mining like a magnet. There was no turning back. once he made that choice. Could Parker's drive to succeed against all odds really be worth it? What would have happened if he hadn't taken that gamble? The pressure mounted as Parker began taking charge of Big Nugget Mine, showing a level of maturity that far exceeded his years. He was not only managing a mining operation, but also fighting to prove that he had what it took to carve out his own legacy in the mining world. It wasn't just about the gold, it was about challenging the industry's norms, modernizing the operation, and proving that you didn't need to be an experienced miner to make it big. By his mid-20s, Parker had already mined over $100 million worth of gold, outpacing anyone's expectations, including his own. Yet for every ounce of gold he unearthed, there was a hidden cost. The more successful Parker became, the more he risked. From grueling seasons battling harsh weather to dealing with massive debts, Parker's story wasn't just about gold. It was about testing the limits of human endurance, resilience, and sacrifice. Could Parker continue to rise above the immense pressure, or would the constant stakes finally break him? Leadership in the gold mining world isn't just about being in charge, it's about survival. For Parker Schnable, leading a crew through the treacherous conditions of the Yukon, managing millions of dollars, and keeping an operation alive through the toughest of circumstances requires more than just ambition. It requires a deep, unwavering focus, and Parker's leadership style was one of intensity, demand, and sometimes confrontation. His quick temper and relentless drive have earned him respect, but they have also created tension within his crew. Parker doesn't just lead from the front, he leads with an iron fist, expecting nothing short of perfection. But this approach has come at a cost, both professionally and personally. As the seasons passed, Parker's unyielding focus on the mine started to take a toll on the relationships that mattered most. Behind every successful gold mine is a team of people working tirelessly to make it happen. Yet Parker's team wasn't just working for him, they were often working under immense pressure. For every success, there was a failure looming, and for Parker, that was the weight he carried daily. His leadership style, though highly effective, sometimes bordered on tyrannical, and not everyone was cut out for the intensity that came with working for Parker. The stress of managing the team, the equipment, and the constant fear of failure left little room for personal relationships. His romantic relationships, notably with Ashley Uhl, were often the collateral damage of his all-consuming passion for gold mining. Ashley, an Australian veterinarian who had worked alongside Parker on Gold Rush, brought a lightness and warmth that balanced Parker's intensity. But ultimately, Parker's inability to shift his focus away from mining drove them apart. Ashley deserves better, he admitted, a rare moment of vulnerability from a man who prided himself on never showing weakness. This clash between his personal life and his professional drive raised one crucial question. Can someone so devoted to a single pursuit ever find balance in love and life? When Parker Schnable set out to mine the Wolf Cut, it was supposed to be his big breakthrough. The claim had the potential to bring in millions of dollars worth of gold, but like many things in Parker's life, success didn't come without struggle. As the crew worked tirelessly, day after day, to carve into the earth, the signs of gold became increasingly clear. But then, nature, that unpredictable force, decided to make its presence known. A massive flood turned the Wolf Cut from a potential fortune into a flooded wasteland. For Parker, it wasn't just a setback, it was a nightmare come to life. The floodwaters were relentless, and no matter how much his crew worked to pump the water out, it seemed as though the earth itself was determined to keep the gold hidden. What do you do when the very land you're trying to tame fights back? For most, the answer would be simple: walk away. But Parker is no ordinary miner. In a scene that had fans on the edge of their seats, Parker and his team were forced to battle not just the elements, but the possibility of losing everything. Equipment worth millions of dollars was at risk of being damaged beyond repair, and the work that had gone into the site seemed to be washing away before their eyes. But Parker refused to give up. He and his crew fought tooth and nail against the floodwaters, pushing back with everything they had. It was a test of endurance, both for Parker and his crew, who had spent months working on the site. The flood was a harsh reminder of the volatility of gold mining. No matter how much effort you put in, nature could always turn the tide. Yet Parker's resilience shone through, and he refused to let the flood claim his dreams. It was this resilience that made Parker stand out. He wasn't just chasing gold. He was chasing a legacy, and nothing was going to stop him from securing it. But after all the struggles, was the gold worth the fight? Was it really all just about the treasure, or was there something more? Gold mining is a gamble, but the stakes Parker faces are beyond the typical risk. Every season, millions of dollars are poured into the operation. Equipment, wages, mining claims, all of it comes with a price, and failure to succeed could result in massive financial loss. But Parker doesn't just risk money, he risks everything. From the moment he steps onto the site, the weight of expectations is suffocating. Not only is he responsible for his own future, but he also carries the burden of his team's livelihood. With every ounce of gold, Parker inches closer to achieving his dream of a lasting legacy, but with every misstep, he inches closer to financial ruin. This tension is palpable as Parker faces the harsh reality of mining. There is no safety net, no backup plan. Gold mining is a high-stakes venture, and Parker has built an empire on the edge of uncertainty. This season was particularly perilous. Parker had set his sights on extracting 10,000 ounces of gold worth $25 million, a goal that would not only secure his future, but ensure that his operation could continue to thrive. But with the Dominion Creek claims expiration looming in just 6 years, the pressure to succeed became unbearable. If Parker failed to hit the gold jackpot, he stood to lose the most lucrative claim in his mining career. For someone who had already mined over $100 million worth of gold, the stakes couldn't be higher. Failure was not an option. How could Parker continue to put everything on the line season after season, knowing that one bad season could bring it all crashing down? Would this be the season that broke him? Or would he rise to the challenge and prove that there's nothing more dangerous than a miner backed into a corner? Parker Schnable's relentless pursuit of gold hasn't come without its emotional costs. Every ounce of gold he extracts, every risk he takes, and every hour spent under the punishing Alaskan sun brings with it an emotional weight that many may not understand. Parker's story isn't just one of triumph in gold. It's a journey of personal sacrifice, the toll of long hours away from home, and the relationships that have fractured under the pressure of his all-consuming drive. It's easy to look at Parker as a hero, a man who has achieved what so few could in the world of gold mining. But behind the scenes, the emotional cost is staggering. Parker has never been one to show vulnerability, but even the toughest of men crack under the relentless pressure. His relationship with his crew and the people closest to him has often been strained by his intensity. With every season, the stakes rise higher, and so does the toll it takes on him. Whether it's the disintegrating relationship with Ashley Ewell, the Australian veterinarian who once shared Parker's journey, or the growing tensions within the crew, Parker finds himself in a constant battle between his personal life and his professional ambition. His intensity, which has earned him the admiration of fans and colleagues alike, often pushes people away. When you're so consumed by one goal, success, it's hard to keep up with the demands of relationships, and sometimes you end up with nothing but gold and emptiness. For Parker, this emotional turmoil is no stranger. He's admitted to moments of loneliness, even when surrounded by his team. Mining may have given him purpose, but it has also distanced him from the very people he cares about. And this conflict, the pull between ambition and personal fulfillment, is something he grapples with daily. As the seasons progress and the challenges grow, Parker's personal battles take center stage. Can he keep his emotional and mental health intact while chasing his gold-filled dreams? Or will the toll of it all become too much for him to handle? Gold mining is not a predictable business. It is a gamble where the odds are stacked against you. The tools, the technology, the crew, all of these are necessary, but there is no guarantee that your gamble will pay off. For Parker Schnable, this uncertainty has been a part of his life from the very beginning. Every season is a risk, a shot at striking it rich. And for someone like Parker, who has made gold mining his life's work, those risks are what drive him. But what happens when the stakes are higher than ever before? What happens when every decision could be the one that determines whether Parker rises to the top once again, or if he finally falls from grace? In the world of gold mining, the risks go beyond financial loss. They include the danger of losing everything: his reputation, his operation, and the trust of his crew. As Parker prepares for his biggest season yet, with a goal to mine 10,000 ounces of gold worth $25 million, the pressure is mounting. The pressure to succeed is almost suffocating. With only 6 years left on his Dominion Creek claim, Parker knows that this season could make or break him. There is no room for error, no second chances. He has poured everything into this operation: his money, his time, and his legacy. But when disaster strikes, whether it's an unexpected flood or a mechanical failure, will Parker be able to adapt, or will it all come crumbling down around him? The stakes are not just financial, they are personal. Every gold nugget Parker unearths represents more than just wealth. It represents his ability to defy the odds. It's the affirmation of his legacy, a validation that his ambition was worth it. But the question remains, can Parker, the man who has defied every obstacle in his path, rise above the challenges that lie ahead? Can he conquer the wilds of the Yukon one more time, or will this be the season that exposes the cracks in his empire? Parker Schnable doesn't just carry the weight of his own dreams, he also carries the weight of his family's legacy. The Schnable family name has been synonymous with gold mining for generations, and as the heir to that legacy, Parker knows that every decision he makes affects not just his future, but the future of the family empire. His grandfather, John Schnable, was more than just a miner. He was a mentor, a man whose lessons in patience and perseverance shaped Parker into the man he is today. But carrying the torch of a family legacy isn't always as simple as it seems, especially when the stakes are so high. Parker's efforts to modernize the operation and push the boundaries of small-scale mining have earned him respect in the industry, but they have also put his family's fortune at risk. As Parker enters his most ambitious season yet, the question looms large. Can he save his family's empire from financial ruin? The Dominion Creek claim is one of the most lucrative mining sites Parker has ever encountered, but with only 6 years left on his license, time is running out. If Parker fails to meet his gold extraction goal, he risks losing access to the claim and possibly the entire Schnable family operation. For a man who has already mined over $100 million worth of gold, the idea of failure is unthinkable. The weight of these financial and operational stakes hangs over Parker like a storm cloud, threatening to engulf him. The pressure is mounting, and the clock is ticking. Can Parker live up to his family's expectations, or will this be the season that breaks the Schnable legacy? The emotional burden of this responsibility weighs on Parker's shoulders more than anyone realizes. This isn't just about gold. It's about ensuring that the family name continues to shine in the gold mining world. But with every decision, every move Parker makes, there is a risk. Will his relentless pursuit of gold push him too far, or will he rise above the challenges and prove that the Schnable family legacy is indestructible? As Parker faces the fight of his life, the question remains, can he secure his family's future, or will this season be the one that brings it all to a crashing halt? Parker Schnable's success has come at a high price, one that not many people are willing to pay. His relentless focus on mining has driven him to the brink of personal and professional exhaustion, and it has taken a toll on those closest to him. Relationships have been strained, friendships have been tested, and even his mental and emotional well-being has suffered under the weight of constant pressure. For Parker, gold mining isn't just a job, it's a lifestyle, an obsession. But what happens when the pursuit of success starts to tear apart the very things that matter most? Parker's personal life has always taken a backseat to his mining operations, but as the years go on, the emotional cost becomes more apparent. His relationship with Ashley Ewell, the Australian veterinarian who once shared Parker's journey on Gold Rush, was one of the most public examples of how his mining obsession affected his personal life. Their relationship ended not because of a lack of love, but because Parker's work became all-consuming. Ashley deserves better, he admitted, acknowledging the rare vulnerability of a man who typically keeps his emotions guarded. As fans watched Parker's relationship with Ashley fall apart, they began to question whether the man who had it all, gold, fame, and success, was sacrificing the things that truly mattered in life. Was the price of gold worth the cost of love? Could Parker ever find a balance between his personal happiness and his professional dreams? Or would he be forever torn between the two? Parker Schnabel's most famous challenge is not just the gold he's after, it's the unforgiving land he has to conquer in order to get it. The Yukon, with its harsh winters, unrelenting terrain, and unpredictable weather, is as much an enemy as it is an ally. And just as Parker and his crew begin to think they've beaten the odds, the environment turns against them, forcing them into life-or-death situations that test not only their mining skills, but their very will to survive. One of Parker's most intense battles was with the infamous Wolf Cut, an area that held the promise of a massive payday, but also carried massive risk. The cut, which held potential to extract thousands of ounces of gold, became a perfect example of the cruel irony of mining. Just when you think you've struck it rich, nature steps in and takes it all away. A flood, one of the biggest challenges Parker could have faced, devastated the site. What was supposed to be a promising gold mine transformed into a lake of mud and debris as millions of gallons of water swept through, submerging weeks of hard work. The image of Parker staring at the floodwaters, helpless as the floodwaters rose faster than his crew could pump it out, is an indelible moment in his journey. It wasn't just a setback. It was a full-blown disaster. To any other miner, it would have been the end. But for Parker Schnabel, it was just another hurdle. One more challenge that he would overcome. Instead of throwing in the towel, Parker's response was nothing short of heroic. His crew worked tirelessly around the clock, using everything in their power to drain the floodwaters and save the gold-rich cut. In the face of this nature-fueled nightmare, Parker and his team's resilience was the only thing keeping them afloat. The Yukon wilderness may offer gold, but it demands sweat, sacrifice, and the willingness to fight back when things go horribly wrong. For Parker, every battle against the land is a reminder that his journey isn't just about finding fortune, it's about pushing back against forces far greater than himself. The flood may have threatened to wash away months of work, but Parker's grit was the anchor that kept him and his team grounded, propelling them forward through the chaos. In the Yukon, success doesn't come without immense sacrifice, and Parker's fight to reclaim his future is as much about battling nature as it is about digging for gold. For a man like Parker Schnable, fame came quickly, and with it, an entire new set of challenges. Known worldwide for his role on Gold Rush, Parker became an overnight sensation. But with that fame comes constant scrutiny, the pressure of living under a public microscope, and the challenge of maintaining one's privacy in a world that constantly demands to know more. How does Parker deal with the pressures of fame, especially when his every move is followed by millions of eyes? The answer lies in his complicated relationship with the media, fans, and his own sense of self. While many of us would relish the spotlight, for Parker, the glare of public attention is a double-edged sword. Parker's rise to fame brought with it a wealth of public admiration, but it also brought the unavoidable reality of being constantly judged. From his leadership style on the mining site to his personal life, no detail of Parker's world has been left untouched by the public eye. What began as an exciting opportunity to show the world his mining expertise soon morphed into a lifestyle where his every decision was scrutinized. This constant pressure has had an undeniable impact on Parker, creating a tension between his desire to keep his personal life private and his obligation to maintain his public persona. Despite his tough exterior, Parker has admitted that the weight of the spotlight can be overwhelming at times. As Gold Rush fans have seen, Parker often tries to keep his personal relationships under wraps. But as much as he tries to keep his private life away from the public eye, rumors swirl, and fans speculate about everything from his relationship status to his mental health. Parker's breakup with Ashley was a case in point. Their relationship was highly publicized, but in the end, it was mining that took precedence. Parker's intense focus on his work led to the deterioration of his relationship, and the media made sure to cover every aspect of it. While his fans continued to admire him for his mining prowess, Parker's journey serves as a stark reminder of the emotional cost of fame. Parker Schnabel's story is far from over, and the road ahead remains filled with both opportunities and challenges. Will he rise to the occasion, or will this season be the one that breaks him? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the pressure couldn't be more intense. But one thing is certain: Parker's journey will continue to captivate, inspire, and leave fans on the edge of their seats. Do you think Parker will succeed? Or is this the season where the dream finally ends? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the latest developments in this thrilling story.